it had to be the move. At this point, I don't know. I wish maybe a couple of more games just to see.
Right, that's deep-rooted problems, and you can't fix that. The closest fix you can make it to is deadline or off-season. Right, that's number one. Defense is terrible. Goalie, you already know the goalie situation. Jack Campbell can't even play a game in AHL properly.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the BTR podcast.
Before we get started, please like, comment, and subscribe.
No longer.
No for 200. Now for 300. So thank you guys for helping us get to 200, even though we've been asking for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually we got there, and now we got a new number, new target to reach.
300. We reached, I think, last Thursday. So I already put it, like I said, on. Make sure you guys follow our socials because we put it on Twitter and our Instagram that we hit 200.
200.
But you know, job's not done. We're still grinding. We ain't gonna stop ever. Hopefully.
Hopefully ever. Yeah.
So the goal is to keep going up and up. It doesn't matter if it's 1,000. Obviously, the short-term goal is 1,000, maybe 500 or 1,000. But thank you once again for the support. We appreciate it a lot. Help us get to 300 now. And same thing with the Instagram and TikTok. Help drive those numbers up, and we'll keep pumping out content, podcasts like this, potentially more guest analysts, clips, challenges on shorts and stuff like that. So tier list, whatever you guys want, suggest it down below as well. So appreciate all the love there. Audio, we didn't forget about you. We'll check the numbers out, but we appreciate everybody that downloads them, gives us a rating, and we'll definitely, any podcast comes out, it will always be on audio no matter what.
And also check out yesterday's video, Jazz Johal as a guest. Thank you for Jazz for showing up. Obviously it's a long one, but there's a lot of stories we shared, a lot of experiences he shared with us.
His fandom of baseball out of nowhere.
A lot of things he's been through.
Mental health stuff and everything. So check that out as well. I think that's pretty much it. So let's just get right into it. We're early recording, so we're going to be staring at a laptop screen for a little bit. Red zone's on because Jovan has a soccer game later. Plus, now, a little secret for you guys, since this comes out on Monday, we had a power outage on the Saturday. So all day. So that's why the Jazz video isn't dropped on Saturday. It will be dropped right as soon as we're done recording this. So check that out as well. And we're not going to start off with the NFL. We had some early games. We're obviously watching the 1 o'clock PST time slate games right now, but we got some breaking news.
It's as simple as this. Let's laugh at the Oilers.
Yeah.
Let's just laugh at the Oilers.
Because obviously you could tell the fandom we have here.
But yeah, Jay Woodcroft is no longer the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers.
He is fired as of this morning, along with one of his assistants.
Your reaction is, do you think it's a good move?
I don't know, because the reason why, before I tell you who they hired and stuff, the tweet that came out by Mike Martignego, Woodcroft's record in Edmonton was 79, 41, and 13. Now the thing is, he got fired after a win, which is kind of funny because they lost to the San Jose Sharks, but they were 3-10 or something like that.
They were like 3-10, yeah, something.
For a team like that, I don't know. I think you said it before. It was a little too early to be any firings, because like we've seen situations, different sports, but like the Lakers 2-10 made it to the Western Conference Finals. Obviously, trades happen with that. Hockey, we saw St. Louis, but we don't know when they fired their coach at the time before they brought Berube in, I believe, to when they went to the Cup in 19. Same thing with the Nationals in 2019 as well, but. Obviously, if it had to be the move. At this point, I don't know. I wish maybe a couple of more games just to see. But who did they beat yesterday?
I forgot.
Let me check that, because
we were out of power, so I don't know.
Yeah, but when we got it, I thought we were watching the highlights. But,
yeah, I didn't check anything, honestly.
They beat the Kraken, who were also struggling themselves.
Yeah,
because of the title aspirations, there was literally Greg Wyshynski, Stanley Cup favorite, many other Stanley Cup finalists. I think, no, not yours. You had him as contendership, though.
Yeah.
But
a lot of people put him in.
It was contenders. It's a different story, right? Like, for example, if this was the Seattle Kraken, then I'll be like, no, not the right decision right now. Same thing with the Canucks. If it was Rick Tocchet at this point, then no. Funny enough, Rick Tocchet is one of the reasons why they fired their coach. But I think it might be the move. Now the problem is, who is the guy they hired and is he the right guy?
Before we get into that, I'll show you my reaction first. For me, the problem is not Woodcroft. The problem is not the players. The problem is just the general construction of the roster, right? That's deep-rooted problems, and you can't fix that. The closest fix you can make it to is deadline or off-season, right? That's number one. Defense is terrible. Goalie, you already know the goalie situation. Jack Campbell can't even play a game in AHL properly right now.
Continue.
The thing with me is like, it's not like, for me, it's not the right move to do, but it was the only move you could do.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah, you saw his record like 70 and 50 or something like that, right? Like, that's an incredible record, right? And Jay Woodcroft, when he took over the team, was insane. Like, when he first started, like, went on that insane run. So, honestly, that's why, like, coach firings, it's not even their fault half the time, because at the same time, you're trying to figure out a fix. The only fix you could think of is a change of leadership.
And the problem is also how much did he lose the locker room, which I believe is bullshit if it's constant, right? Like, we'll get to Man United later on when we talk about soccer. We're talking about the same thing there. And, with the Canucks a couple of years ago, it needed it because it was Travis Green. The Boudreaux one, you could tell by the structure was different. And that was a whole different situation with the ownership being involved. But to your point about the roster construction, I don't know because goalie for sure is on Ken Holland. No doubt about it. Like, you went out and paid Jack Campbell. Clearly, it didn't work out. Stuart Skinner did not, step up to the plate like he did last year. Defensively, though, they weren't that bad last year. Last year, specifically. Because I don't know how much of that was now scheme change.
Or McDavid outscoring the problems as well.
That too. Because I don't know how much of it was a scheme change as well. Because you brought Ekholm in. They went on a huge winning streak. Right? I don't know if he's from what I've heard from analysts, because again, we're not ice hockey players, so we're learning as well, like how the tactics and all that work. Because for us, it's just like, they're skating, fast-paced game, right? That's what we're into. Like, obviously, soccer, we know because we played it and coached it. Basketball, I can kind of tell the difference too now. Hockey, I'm still kind of learning, and I know you're kind of learning. And they're saying that the scheme was slightly different from last year to this year, and clearly you could tell because
something changed.
Something's changed, right? And the offense isn't clicking on a high power like it was last year at the moment. And McDavid's slightly injured. Draisaitl isn't being consistent as he is. And Vander Kane regressed a little bit. And so did Nuge. Because Nuge was a 100-point player last year.
Nuge was 100 points, yeah.
Zach Hyman's been decent. But Zach Hyman will only go if he's on the McDavid line, right? So defensively, I think that's on the coaching slightly. Because I think there is a scheme change. Because they can't be that big of a drop-off. Especially if you added Ekholm. Right, Ekholm's an upgrade from Tyson Barrie, right?
100%.
Evan Bouchard, I don't know what the hell is he. How much is that on the player than the coach? Because Evan Bouchard is a great offensive defenseman. He is their new power play quarterback, but why is he so bad defensively? Right, the goaltending, I agree, that's 100% on Ken Holland. That's 100% on him.
But the thing is, like, I just seen so many plays where like the players are pinching at the wrong moment.
Is that
causing,
coaching?
I don't know if that's coaching or is that decision making. Decision making of the player.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're telling me Darnell Nurse is your highest paid defenseman and he's not your best defenseman.
He ain't number one.
Right? So, like, there's issues there too as well.
I don't know. Like, for me,
the problems are not, like, fixable right away. It's deep-rooted. The only thing you could do right away is fire Jay Woodcroft, which they already did.
Yeah. Before I bring in the coach who they hired, because we'll find out why he got hired, because there's connections there. Again, like, you bring in Ekholm, you give Bouchard more of a bigger role, and he was fine. They were fine last year. Again, like you said, I don't know how much of it is like they just don't believe in his system, what the case may be. But that record of Woodcroft is like, what? Yeah, I don't get it.
It's insane. Because it's a really good record.
The rumored coaches or like the people that were like putting names out there, Bruce Boudreau. But then again, defensively, how is that going to fix?
He's not good defensively.
That's the problem. I love Bruce Boudreau, right? I wanted him to be the Canucks coach. Obviously, now actually watching him play, because we didn't know how systems really worked, it's a night and day difference between Rick Tocchet and Boudreau. Yes, I know Boudreau didn't get the same squad as Tocchet, but that's a different story. But to your point, off camera, can Boudreau just get them to go have fun, outscore your problems, because you have the greatest player in the game right now, and a top 4 or 5 player in the game.
To your point, right? Like, Boudreau just came in and like lit it up with the Canucks.
But the problem is Boudreau.
But the issue with Boudreau is not going to be.
Playoffs.
Yeah, that. But it's not. It's also not going to be
defensive scheme.
No, long term.
Oh yeah, because
Like,
it's very short term, and in the playoffs,
If you're trying to save the season right now,
he might be the guy.
he's the guy. But if you're trying to hire someone for like the next 2-3 years, it's not Boudreaux.
Yeah, but like I said, the playoffs though, like his playoffs aren't the greatest either.
Yeah.
The other name was Gerard Gallant, and we saw what he did first year with Vegas.
Rangers coach.
Rangers, he was decent, but then like again, he's kind of like a up and down guy.
He's up and
I wouldn't
down,
say he's a
yeah.
long term coach either. But for this season, I would probably believe in him more than Boudreaux in
That's
general.
fair, yeah.
And I don't know if this was just a Halford and Bruff thing, but they wanted to Daryl Sutter just because it's like a big FU to Calgary for letting me go, and I'm gonna go join the crosstown rival.
Yeah.
And you know, at the end of the day, it depends on how Daryl Sutter is acclimated as a person to the players, because he's a great coach. There's no denying the coaching ability of Daryl Sutter.
Kings, look at the Kings. LA Kings. It's just 2012, 2014, I believe, right? Stanley Cup champions because of Daryl Sutter. Big reason part of that.
Yeah, so like even when he first came to Calgary, when whoever got fired then, he helped Calgary. Look at the second year Calgary, they went nuts, right? Defensively, he would get you right and figure it out. Now the question is, if McDavid ain't happy with that hire, you ain't gonna get him, right? And Draisaitl.
But
so,
who is McDavid happy with?
Chris, no block. So first of all, Oilers had fired head coach Jay Woodcroft and assistant coach Dave Manson after starting 3-9-1. So that was the record. So 3-10 essentially.
Yeah.
Chris Knobloch, I apologize for mispronouncing your name, is replacing Woodcroft in the lead role. So it's not like, I don't know if it's interim or is it for sure. And legendary former defenseman Paul Coffey will join him as an assistant coach. Kind of reminds me of a talk at bringing in Adam Foote.
And Gonchar.
Gonchar as a player development.
Yeah.
Adam Foote. Knobloch was the bench boss of the AHL's Hartford Wolfpack, which is, I don't think it's theirs affiliate though. Like how Travis Green was the affiliate and Trent Cole was. Yeah. I don't think he's the affiliate, so it's a different guy from a different Hartford, so I don't know whose there is. I'll double check that. But the main thing is this. He's Connor McDavid's coach when McDavid played for the OHL's Erie Otters. So there's another guy now in the I guess organization that has ties with McDavid, because their CEO was McDavid's former agent, if I'm not mistaken. Jay Jackson, I think was his name or something. Yeah. I don't, unless I'm mixing up my Blue Jay picture here, but it was something like that. So familiar now. How much of this is that you're doing this because McDavid is your guy and you're gonna make McDavid happy no matter what, because his contract is up in 3-4 years, and if this continues, we won't be surprised if he requests a trade.
100%.
Same thing with Draisaitl, who's up a year earlier.
You gotta make him happy, bro, at the end of the day. So
just he is a champion in the junior level.
Yeah.
He coached in the NHL in March 2021 when he led the New York Rangers for 6 games while David Quinn was in COVID at that time protocol. He was an assistant coach so he has experience in the NHL. He's an assistant coach with Philly on 17-18 and 18-19. The Wolfpack, which is the Rangers affiliate, so I don't have to search it up, hired him as their bench boss in 2019. He has played a role in development of numerous NHLers, which is including McDavid, Drbrinkat, Dylan Strome, Anthony Cirelli, and Travis Dermott. So Oilers are, like I said, they're second last in the NHL.
They gotta do something.
Gotta do something.
And the only thing, they only had one option to do.
I don't know much about this coach, but let's see how he does. Like, obviously, is it a new coach?
At this rate, for how your season's going, for how your season's going, just try find a way to keep your boys happy.
Okay, now I'm gonna ask this question like I asked last time. If you were a betting man, would you still bet that like $5, and it's probably a big return based on what the record is, that they will make the playoffs somehow?
Yeah, I would.
Because I'm
still a good team,
am I
right?
crazy to believe that? I'm not saying they'll overpass the Canucks and finish top 3 or the Kings or anything like that, but at least wildcard 1 and 2 spot, I can't bet against McDavid. I'm sorry. At this point,
fair.
I can't. Like, can they figure out their goaltending? Maybe they'll have to make a trade. UC Soros, if somehow miraculously goes there, it'll be insane, or whoever else could be there. But if they fix their goaltending, I would bet that they would go on a huge win streak at one point and probably make a wild card spot. And I won't be surprised if this from there, kind of like the Lakers last year when they made a move, and then they made the Western Conference Finals. Same thing here. Yes. I believe that's very similar situation.
Sometimes it takes a move, right? And maybe you already made that move by firing your coach. But at the end of the day, goaltender either needs to step up, which Stuart Skinner, second year, sophomore.
And whoever they called up from the AHL now.
And whoever they called up from the AHL. but they're gonna need to find something like that because LA found that in Phoenix Copley before they traded for Corpusalo last year.
And LA now, Cam Talbot's doing
Killing it. He's killing it.
So former Oiler, by the way.
Yeah.
And
but yeah,
on the flip side now, so Oilers, let's see what happens. Obviously, we're intrigued because we're in the same division. We have a mini rivalry with Jeevan's mom. Remind me of Jeevan. We got to talk about that as well. I forgot to write on the board.
Yeah.
But even then, like, you still got to pay attention to the Oilers because they have the best player in the world.
100%.
Right? Because if they're in the lottery, I will not be surprised if they end up with Macklin celebrating.
Bro, they're gonna get another number one.
Because we were doing the.
Can you name the number one?
Can you name the number one overall pick? And then Jeevan's brother was at their house.
Like, how many did they have?
How many did they have in a row? Like
they had
three in
a row.
4 and 5 years or something.
They had 3 in a row.
Then they had the third pick, which got them Draisaitl.
So 2009, 2010,
10 and 11.
11. So it was Hall, Nuge, and Yakupov. Right?
No, 10, 11, 12.
Or 10, 11, 12.
It was 10, 11, 12. 13 was Draisaitl third, but that was the one they kind of needed to win for Ekblad to get a defenseman.
Yeah.
And then 14.
15 was McDavid.
15 was McDavid. So they had because of that, they changed the rule that you can't have like 3 within 5 years.
Exactly.
But
yeah, that's
the Oilers side of things.
That's the Oilers side of things.
They started off with a win though, so that's good.
That's true.
Other big news in the NHL before we go into our
crosstown rivals in Alberta still.
Who was also a shit show at the end of the day.
Exactly.
They, even though I think they won that game, or it was an overtime loss to Toronto.
I think shootout loss.
Shootout loss to Toronto. One of the pending UFAs, Nikita Zadorov, requested a trade from the Flames. Defenseman, left shot D, big guy. It was funny because it was right after the game. Don Milstein, his client, which we'll get into the funny side of this for a second, was essentially confirmed it, and he was saying like, why is he getting low ice time? So on and so forth. I think he was one of the guys like after the game, him and like Mikhail Backlund, like when the fans are booing, stuff like that was going down. That like obviously we got to pick this shit up or we're screwed, right? So the thing with, before we get back to Zadorov and who are the potential candidates and stuff. Oh, this is the tweet. I don't think, because Dan, can we keep him? ? Milstein replied to that tweet. I don't think so. Not when the best D barely gets the ice time. Now, obviously, it's his clients. He's going to call him the best defenseman. Because in my opinion, it's still Hanifin. But are they going to be the biggest seller at the trade deadline? This is something I would ask if we get any other NHL analysts, whether it be Wyshynski, Greg
They have the most pieces, right?
Because they have Tanev, Zadorov,
a lot of pending.
Hanifin, Lindholm is probably the biggest one.
A lot of pending free agents.
They re-signed Backlund and gave him the captaincy.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if they're missing one. I'm missing one or two more. Because they already got rid of Toffoli.
You might be. At this rate, Markstrom might be traded.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because he's actually doing well this year for them.
But yeah, let's go back to Zadorov.
So Zadorov,
good defenseman, but if you're looking at it from a Canucks aspect, it's gonna be a rental, because if we trade for him, it's gonna be like, okay, you gotta pay Hirona, you gotta pay PD as well.
Yeah.
So
$3.75 million will be the cap hit. We don't know if there'll be any retention because again, it's the NHL cap, which sucks. But so the teams that are involved are the Canucks. Reason being, Dan Milstein client. Exactly, why is that a big factor? Andrei Kuzmenko, Ilya Mikheyev, and there was a guy we traded from New York last year. Kravtsov when we had him.
Yeah. And
then there was other players I think on the team right now. The other team is Toronto, and this one's intriguing because Brad Treliving. Brad Treliving is the one who got Zadorov, signed him Zadorov.
Yeah.
And now he's Toronto's GM, and Toronto needs defense help. Right?
100%.
Probably more than us at this point.
They do.
And
even though they beat us.
But at the same time, I look at it, it's like if Calgary's going to Brad Treliving and be like, bruh, great job, you finessed the trade for us for the Kachuk, but then you screwed us over heavily by giving an extension to Jonathan Huberdeau, which, by the way, is he the worst contract in hockey right now?
Probably.
And then Nazem Kadri, who's probably the second worst, or up there at least,
in the worst
contract in hockey. And then on top of that, you also extended, I think, Mackenzie Weegar. But like those two, especially though, the big ones, the forwards, who are not even struggling. Like Huberdeau got benched and they won the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So if I'm Calgary's be like, what, you think I'm going to reward you by giving you a Zadorov or something? Unless you're giving me like, I don't know, massive picks or something.
Or a little revenge plan going on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Toronto could definitely use them. We could use them. I just don't know how we're going to manage to fit it in with our cap. And because
we're also trying to bring in Ethan Bear.
Devils, right? the third team?
I don't have that saved. I think it was just like a request to trade.
A request to trade?
It could be the Devils, yeah. Okay, so like according to Rick Dollywall, heavily linked with agents around the league, especially with the Canucks, obviously host of Donnie and Dolly, has said that the Canucks will be heavily linked with them even before the trade request. They're saying that like they're monitoring everything that Nikita Zadorov mainly is doing. The other name he mentioned, which we'll get into in a second, is Chris Tanev. But yeah, and so again, the Dan Milstein side of things, I will not be surprised at all. But the question is, as a Canucks fan now, let's just talk about the Canucks side of things, because I'm not surprised, or I won't be as surprised if like I think it'll end up being a Devil or a Maple Leaf. But like, are we gonna like? Would you give up a first? Let's just say, would you give up a first?
You can't.
Would you give up a first knowing he'll resign?
It's gonna be tough.
I don't think I would give up a first for Zadorov, right?
And then he's not resigning. It's a rental.
Yeah,
for us, 100.
Well, no, he can't. No, because it's Milstein. That's why I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. And
but like,
Milstein's the type of guy to keep his word that way too.
It's not that. The situation we're in, we gotta sign PD and Hronek, bro. He's not the priority number one.
Yeah,
right. The issue's not. Or if he wants to sign, the issue is we genuinely might not be able to.
Myers is off the books, but like you said,
that's
Hughes and Hronek, and Hronek will get equal to Hughes money because he's a right shot defenseman playing with Hughes. So people can't say, oh, it's easy. Like, it's easy for us to say, oh, he ain't gonna get $6. Like we were saying with Horvat, he'll resign. Look what happened with Horvat, right? So with Hronek, it's gonna be the same thing, and he has all the leverage because we traded a first for him.
Well, I didn't say we were signing Horvat.
Well, no, I'm saying people are people around there saying it's easy. We're gonna sign Horvat. Like, they're not that stupid. Which obviously they ended up signing Miller. They had to get rid of him, which is the right move. But that's a different story. Yeah. So the big thing with Zadorov is like he is like that game I saw, he hit a hard hit, clean hit. He's a big stay-at-home defenseman. Is he gonna be partnered with who? We don't know because he's a left shot D. Like, are you really gonna move down unless you're moving Cole or Susie to the right side?
That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. But that's the case, right? Partially, I don't mind. Like, I want to see if we're gonna be like this good. And we'll get into the Canucks in a second overall as what our thoughts on it. Then I wouldn't mind looking for some rentals, but that are not like you have to give up like a second or a first.
Yeah, exactly. But
maybe someone
we don't have second round picks. To give up.
If I were to, I won't be surprised if he becomes a Toronto Maple Leaf.
Okay.
If anything, I hope he becomes a Devil.
More than Maple Leaf. But the thing is, like, I'm not gonna be mad if we get him. Like, he's a good player. Like, I think he'll fit in well and everything. The issue is, like, what do you have to give up to get him, right? And we don't have much, really, even though we're playing so good. But yeah, no, I give props to management. Like, they're trying to reward the team, trying to, like, get everything out of this season as you possibly can, because it's going to be a little bit different next year.
Yeah, so, because the OEL cap hits.
Because the cap hits and everything,
going to come in. But,
the reaction to the Canucks season.
No, sticking with the Calgary for a second. I'm gonna name the names. Do you expect them to get traded?
Bro, every name you say, I'm gonna say yes. Or I'll give you the answer right now.
Like, do you actually genuinely
do? Because they have no other way of. They're gonna lose them for free otherwise. Right? Those guys are good players, right?
Okay, fine. Where do you think Elias and Lindholm will be a perfect fit?
Boston.
Okay, so you still
Boston,
believe that?
Yeah.
I could argue Colorado.
Yeah, you could argue Colorado, yeah.
But it depends, right? And then Tanev. Do you want bring Tanev home?
I would love to bring Tanev home.
That's the only one you're like, okay, you know what? Go do it. Because, again, maybe that gives Hronek and Cole a pairing. And Hughes knows how to play with Tanev anyways.
Already, yeah.
So, and he's not as injury prone as he once was.
Yeah.
Because I think he has better gear to block shots with. And that's the other thing. He won't be scared of blocking shots.
Bro, Tanev's a proper bunda.
Yeah. And he hasn't played with Demko yet either, and Demko will love him.
Yeah, so for sure you love him.
Okay, Canucks lost to Toronto, which is out of the worst team you wanted to lose to, but
it was coming.
It was coming though, because first of all, those people that are saying Canucks regression is coming, no shit, Sherlock, because look, the numbers we're putting out are like 70s, 80s. 9 teams have probably done it max, and they're from the 70s and 80s. This isn't the same. Oilers didn't do this last year. And we saw McDavid go for like 150 points or whatever he dropped, and Draisaitl and had like over 120, and Nuge had 100, right? So, it's gonna come down in terms of production wise, but that doesn't mean that we won't win games 1-0, 2-1, 3-4, 3-2, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Like, I was not like, if you're being realistic, I don't think the Canucks were gonna sustain this. Now they gave me the confidence. Like, every shot they shot pretty much went in the net. right? And now that could be deflections or whatever the case may be. Now, however, I still don't think they'll shit the bed and maybe drop to a wild card spot or miss the playoffs. So that's a different story. Injuries may happen. It's hockey, right? For any team.
Exactly.
So
Hockey.
my thing is, as long as they're healthy enough and then they could have their structure enough to win games, because secondary scoring stepped up, but how it's still not there in terms of depth.
At the end of the day, as long as your stars are your stars, they proved it this year that, like, you know, they're up there in the NHL. As long as your stars are being your stars, aka Demko, Hughes, PD.
PD ain't 100% either, and Miller, by the way.
And then, yeah, we'll throw in Miller as well. If they're your best players, you're going to have a chance of winning every game.
Yeah, so, like, regression is bound to happen in terms of
Bro, like, you're
overall analytics
You're
stats.
10-2-1. You're not going to sustain a 10-2-1 record all year, right? You're not
Yeah.
Boston from last year.
Yeah, like, only teams right now that are on pace of beating that is Boston again, surprisingly.
And then Vegas.
And Vegas. And I kind of have faith more in Vegas out of the two other teams to do it, right? And Colorado kind of fell off a little bit recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, overall for the Canucks season, like, we love it. Great.
We're excited, right?
I think Greg Wyshynski dropped, I think he did a survey around the league, who are the award winner favorites. Go check that out on ESPN.com because Greg's our boy now. I'm going to consider him our boy now.
Greg's our boy.
But
we might not be his boys.
literally,
But
I think he has PD. They had voting PD winning the Hart right now. Hughes winning the Norris by a margin. A big of a margin right now.
It's a big margin.
And then they have
Demko
winning the Vezina, and Tocchet's
Tocchet.
third because Detroit's doing what they're doing, and
Yeah.
Vegas is still going killer mode right now. But that being said, yeah, like at the end of the day, that's like that. They have a game later on today at the time of this recording, so that being said, we'll see how it continues. They're on a road trip, but you know, as of right now, they're beating the bad teams by a lot, which shows a good thing. Now Edmonton is considered bad for now, I guess, because they weren't the case that way.
True.
But and they're in games with the close teams. I don't know what happened in the Toronto game yesterday because A, we were kind of listening to the radio. B, we had a soccer game that did not happen. But C,
Power outage.
So we didn't know what happened at the game. I heard it was bad bounces. You know, a classic
Lot of
Tyler
penalties.
Miles own goal.
A
lot of penalties. We didn't react.
The Ottawa game was pretty bad, but then like games like, you know, Dallas is a cup contender.
Yeah.
They won. Rangers.
Ref screwed us.
In overtime, and the fact that we were in overtime
Back to back with
shows,
Smith.
right? Yeah. Right? Like those are good teams, and obviously
Yeah.
Leafs, you know, I don't know what happened there fully.
Very quick reaction to the rest of the league that are still somewhat surprises. So Philly went back down to earth.
Yeah.
They're 7-1 now. Washington is a team I'm intrigued with right now.
Same. I am
Because
too.
this is what I kind of expected a little bit at times. I'm like, they were like the Rams for me of the NFL.
I wrote them off.
You wrote them off. I'm like, in the hunt of getting Ovechkin goals, they might mess around and win games. They're 7-4-2. And they were still kind of being talked negatively in the media, like, oh, what type of team is Washington going to be? They're third in the division. They're ahead of cup contender New Jersey right now.
Yeah, they are.
So that's the team that if we bring Greg on or whoever NHL person we bring on, if we are able to bring him on, I would ask about, because we ran out of time last time with Greg to ask. Surprised though, Pittsburgh is 7-6, so they kind of they were 500, below 500. Now they're kind of coming to up. Rangers have the same record as us. Well,
Rangers,
I think we're 10-3.
Rangers are killing it, but we all know who it is right now.
Detroit
Red Wings. Right.
8-5-2.
They are on a tear right now. From what we expected Ottawa and Buffalo to be taking a jump, but Ottawa's last placed.
Oh, very quickly, DJ Smith gone next.
100%.
Okay.
And then the Red Wings are just up there, and Sabres are like in the similar spot.
We thought Berube would have been fired. He's 7-5-1, which is decent. I have Winnipeg exactly. My Central is perfectly lined up the top three at least.
As of right now, yeah.
Yeah, Minnesota shitting the bed. Arizona was a weird team for me to predict as well, because I think they have the talent, but I don't know if they were, you know, how it would have went. And we all know how bad Edmonton is right now.
We all know how bad the Pacific Division is right now.
So
Ducks are pretty surprising too, 7-6-0.
Yeah, that's
well.
Between them and
Red Wings,
Detroit are the biggest surprises for me. League leader wise, Jack Hughes obviously being hurt kind of sucks. PD being slightly injured apparently is up there, but
PD's leading in points, Matthew's leading in goals.
Brock Besser at 11 though.
Patterson's leading in assists. Hughes is leading in like it's all Canucks are in there, bro. Like it's so weird.
And then Demko's tied for wins.
Yeah.
At 7. So it's insane. And his goal against is 1.96, and his goals and his save percentage is at 935. So, yeah, that's the NHL side of things.
Let's
see. But the next time we
Yeah.
check, Philly dropped off. Let's see if Detroit or someone
We'll see what
someone
happens there.
rises or not. Edmonton is a key team to watch out for.
Let's see if they rise up. But let's go to NFL. Obviously, live right now. The 1 p.m. games, you got the Lions, the Chargers, probably the best one out of them.
But let's go back to Thursday Night Football.
Thursday Night Football, Panthers, Bears.
We picked the Panthers.
But it was a gut feeling because we didn't know who to pick because both teams are really bad.
Yeah.
And the Bears just had a perfect game. 0 sacks allowed, 0 turnovers, and I think it was 0 something else. Touchdowns, I think?
I think so.
Oh, offensive touchdowns. Because Panthers got a special team touchdown.
Yeah. But Panthers, Tyson Bagent comes in, has more wins than Justin Fields this year, has more wins than Bryce Young, who went number 1. And Tyson Bagent was like a second division player, and his schedule was like teams I've never heard of, and then start the NFL teams that he started against. Right? So it's like, obviously I thought the Panthers would win. I thought Bryce Young would be better than this. I don't know. Frank Reich's probably gone at the end of the year. It has to be. But yeah, so the Bears ended up winning 16-13. Nothing much to say about this one.
Missed a game tying field goal at the end, which was like 59 yards. And Bryce Young saying himself. But to be fair, his situation isn't the best. But at the same time, you gotta be doing a little bit. You gotta be doing something to show that you have life. That we should have faith in you. Like how Sam Howell, I have faith in Sam Howell. Right? I don't have that faith in Bryce Young.
Yeah. Live reaction for this one though. Dallas is up 28-0 at half against the Giants. They won 40-0 or whatever.
They're surpassing that.
Huh?
There's gonna be like 48-0.
No. What I'm saying is, the Giants have not scored a goal. I think they have scored a point on that defense.
Yeah.
In one way or another. All right, let's get right to the morning game. Ironically, involving the Colts. It was Indianapolis ended up beating New England Patriots. Rivalry overseas, 10-6.
Boring
Stinker game.
Stinker.
Boring game. But you see that stadium roof though at Frankfurt.
Yeah, it's a nice little retractable roof that just goes into the jumbotron.
And then jumbotron goes up.
Yeah,
it was insane to see. But we'll talk about
probably
the Colts.
The best part of the game.
Well, the first 2 drives were insane.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about the first.
We'll talk about the Colts.
The Colts because there's a lot to talk about.
Nobody else talked about them.
And New England after
NFL countdown. Gardner Minshew is Carson Wentz 2.0, and this team, the defense showed up today, sacking Mac Jones many times. 2 big interceptions to really turn the tide of the game. But offensively, we did die down, not scoring 20 points finally. But we still found a way to win. Steichen has these guys rolling 5-5 after 10, right? Depending on what you have with the 7 games left. To be fair, the only team I'm not confident in probably the Houston Texans game and the Bengals game. Everything else, I kind of think we should win. But the situation is, Gardner Minshew, you're making plays, but the type of plays you're making is like, if you don't make those plays, you're going to get bashed.
Would you rather have Carson Wentz or Gardner Minshew?
Gardner Minshew.
Because you've been
we already saw with Carson Wentz.
But, the difference was that Carson Wentz, we had expectations, and Gardner Minshew, we didn't. Even this year with Anthony Richardson, we would not have. But defensively, though, like obviously we let him go down the field. Injuries are a factor. Buck was hurt for a little bit. Okay, I don't know if Kwity Paye even came back.
He did.
Okay, but probably limited.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the thing was, they made the big play when they needed to. Like, I'm not a big fan of Gus's defense schemes. More I watch it. Now, I'm not saying that because I'm a huge Shaq Leonard fan either. But like, there's not really big play. Now, like turnovers till like late down the drive. The good thing was when they did drive down the field, we limited them to field goals. That was the key thing.
You're making points. Like, if you're talking about the game, he was fine today. Like, if you're talking about any other game, yes, that's fair to say. But like after today, I'm not gonna say anything about Gus just because you did a good job today. So like, and with the Buck and Grove being out in the one drive, obviously they're gonna drive down a little bit.
Yeah, they ran it down on us.
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
Our guys suspended for PEDs. They were our main run stopper.
With the last thing with the Colts though, run the damn ball guy. Jonathan Taylor only 69 yards. 23 rushes though, so you got a touchdown. Josh Downs obviously with the injured made some plays.
Made a big play.
Alec Pierce always has that one play.
Pittman obviously
was the main guy.
But yeah, let's move on to the Pats side. Obviously, they have more question marks.
Okay, first question off the bat with the Pats. Do you agree with Bailey Zappi coming in the 2-minute drill?
2-minute drill? No. It was like the fourth quarter, yes.
Like at the beginning?
Like the beginning of fourth quarter?
Yeah.
I could see that.
But not like the last.
To be fair, Mac Jones, yes, he wasn't playing good.
I don't think he had a stinker until that interception.
Yeah. I think it was kind of like helping, kind of hanging in there a little bit. But I don't know, Bailey Zappi coming in, like, what do you expect is going to happen? Like, the man's cold.
Yeah.
Your 2-minute offense, he's not even like, there's no chance to set up plays properly, right? 2-minute offense are like, no huddle, no huddle, no huddle. And obviously the interception was terrible. Fake spike interception.
Yeah.
And
before that, Mac Jones and Ramondre Stevenson went down the field.
Yeah.
And horrible pick there.
Horrible pick there.
Like, hit their OC, I think it was Bill O'Brien.
But I can still see why Bill did it. It's just the timing of it. The timing was wrong, right? And obviously, we're going to look at this team to be picking a quarterback. And obviously, we're going to allude to the next question. Should Bill be fired? You already know our answer from the last pod. No.
I still don't think so. But will you be surprised if he still somehow, after this game?
Yeah, especially, probably not. But just knowing how short leashes coaches are on.
But
doesn't matter.
Bill's a different story.
Doesn't matter if you've been there for like.
I think Bill's a different story.
But it doesn't matter if you've been there for 50 years. Like
Robert Kraft might be like,
Jimbo Fisher's fired.
It could be one of those situations where Robert Kraft's like, yeah, you're fired. Now, you know what? No, I quit. Get out.
Yeah.
But then obviously,
Bill,
secret extension signed, so he might just take the firing, if anything.
Bill might just fire the owner. That's what Bill is.
Bob Kraft is like massive.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
the thing. Flip side though, Mac Jones. How much is it that now Josh McDaniels is now fired from the Raiders that he will? I mean, I predict he might be back as the OC next year. His rookie year, he had Josh McDaniels and he had a good year. I'm not saying he was like an outstanding guy or whatever, but he was in discussion for a little bit for offensive rookie of the year because of it, because of the quarterback position. Do you think if Mac Jones has one more year, and if it is McDaniels coming back, that he should be given that year? Or I do agree with Randy Moss when he said, like, I think Mac Jones can still be a starting caliber quarterback, but in the right situation, which in this case is Josh McDaniels.
I would say yes if Caleb Williams, Drake May, Michael Penix weren't in the next draft class.
Okay, assuming they're not going quarterback at all. Like if it was announced right now that Josh McDaniels will be back as OC next year.
No, I'm switching.
No matter what.
Like that draft class is too good, right? You have an opportunity.
Bill's the GM too.
You have an opportunity, bro. Like to kind of potentially draft a franchise guy. You're 2-8. You're gonna have a top pick in a draft. You're the worst team in the conference. Obviously, NFC is way worse compared to the AFC. But you're the worst team in the conference. You have a genuine chance of picking your franchise guy, right? So I'm not gonna pass up on that opportunity because of a hopeful that Mac Jones had a connection with Josh McDaniels, and that's why.
Now here's the difference.
You're
talking to Bill Belichick here, if he's still there.
Yeah.
Bill's known to do some weird shit in drafts.
Who knows, man?
So, yeah, no, I still think if in the right situation, Mac Jones is still fine.
Yeah,
I think
agree
in the
with
right
that,
situation.
But I can't bank on that when the upcoming draft class is.
Okay, fine. Take away next year. Do you think?
I can't.
No. Okay.
What?
Let me finish. If he were to go to a different team, in a situation like
someone could sign him.
Yeah, like
Minnesota wants to sign him, or like trade for him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't mind that.
Do you believe in him if he had a decent O-line? Kevin O'Connell's your play caller. You have Jefferson.
You would. I agreed with you, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's.
I'm not talking about New England here. No.
Yeah. If you're talking about that, yeah, I'm fine with that. But like, I'm talking about New England, you gotta move on.
Yeah, okay, so you're saying no matter what, move on.
You can't take that risk
out
anymore.
of the picture.
You can't take that risk.
Okay, but would you be surprised if Bill's like, I got McDaniels back?
This is Bill, man. He does whatever he wants, and honestly, he deserves whatever. He deserves that, respect of doing whatever he wants. But the issue is, it hasn't been working lately.
Okay, let's talk about our game of the days we had.
With
First
multiple,
one, that's
as Amon-Ra rushes for a touchdown.
Okay, Browns Ravens was probably the biggest one we had to talk about. The three that we wanted to talk about. Before we go to CJ Stroud, because I know you want to talk about
Browns Ravens. Yeah, we'll go with that. That's weird. This one was a weird one because you thought Ravens had it in the bag. So obviously Lamar throwing a crucial pick, showing that why the defense is really good of the Cleveland Browns. 2 picks for Lamar Jackson. But like when you put up 31 points on the defense, right? Well, not 31, -7 for that because Watson threw a pick 6. You kind of expect to win.
Yeah.
Obviously the game was incredible. Like Watson, you did enough to get drive.
Watson started off 1 for 9, but he ended up finishing pretty well.
Yeah.
Like he kind of 20 for 34, 213 yards. His longest being 28.
Give credit to the Browns. Obviously the defense is hanging in the game for so long, and then for the offense to finally show up.
Ford 107 yards rushing.
Exactly. This is another. Obviously, their O-line is really good. Obviously, we've been saying it the whole time. If their quarterback could figure it out, these guys are a contending team. And we're not saying he needs to be Houston level, but if he needs just competent level, right, they have a chance. So, but yeah, the Ravens is just like crucial mistakes at crucial times. Obviously, Lamar's pick 6. You can't throw that. You can't have that happen. I'm not saying whose fault it is because I don't remember the play, but you can't have that happen when you were up a touchdown or 2 touchdowns, and basically, actually no, I think we're up touchdown, so that would tie the game. But they missed the
extra point.
Yeah, so that would have tied the game. So you can't have that happen in that situation.
Yeah.
Was what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, they got the ball back too. Couldn't make much of it, but
it just
and
dried
then
out,
they drove down and hit the game-winning field goal. But yeah, no, a great game. Again, our power rankings are going to be all over the place because a team that we introduced in, at least I introduced in, and you had it 2 weeks in a row, the Cincinnati Bengals, and this was one of our teams where we're like, we didn't really pick it as our upset, but don't be surprised. And exactly that's what happened. Houston Texans, CJ Stroud, 30-27 win, led the drive again to get the game-winning field goal. Joe Burrow was obviously down most of the game, had 2 brutal picks, and then CJ ended up returning the favor by giving his second pick of the year. But this team might fall out again because they're 5-4. And with this game, you want to talk about CJ Stroud because mainstream media is saying some things that you mentioned last week that I will agree on could be a realistic factor because mainstream media is talking about it. But I did agree with you, but you
That
said
day.
last week.
So was it last Monday's podcast? Obviously, we recorded on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then I said that we need to put CJ Stroud in a MVP conversation. And then on Monday morning, all the mainstream media coming out saying that, he actually might be in MVP conversation.
And then officially today.
And now officially, he beat someone that potentially could have been an MVP conversation if he just, found his, just kept it going when Joe Burrow. CJ Stroud, back-to-back weeks, game-winning drives, obviously throwing his second pick, insane rookie numbers, and deservedly so, just deserves the attention that he is. So does the Houston Texans as a team and what D'Amico Ryans is doing. But, nobody ever thought this was going to happen.
Yeah.
That's
Everybody thought, was it, who was getting the top 2 picks? Arizona was going to get the top 2 picks because of that.
Yeah, but no, CJ Stroud's a proper quarterback, and he's just freaking killing it. It's just I don't know what, I can't describe how he's playing.
I sort of got if I hear another thing about those tests.
It's bullshit.
In the next draft, Caleb Williams is this, or Drake May is that,
I feel
or
like
whatever.
I feel like people do this things too much, right? Like Micah has attitude issues, but look at the talent.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it depends on what the thing is. You don't want a situation where it's
that's Jalen Carter's different, right?
Yeah. That's
Micah
legal.
didn't have anything. It was just attitude. Sometimes you just you gotta take the player, and Dallas took the player, right? So doing all these little mini tests, you can't predict what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
Look at Micah. He's probably a good team. I'm not saying he was a bad teammate then.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he's a good teammate still. Look at Stroud. He's not. What was it, IQ test?
Yeah. I don't know what.
He's looking a very smart football player to me right now. So.
That division right now, 6-3 Jaguars, which we'll get into in a second. Texans 5-4, Colts 5-4, and then I think Titans are out of the picture. 5-5, sorry, and then Titans are 3-6, so they probably could be out of the picture soon. Yeah, if Houston ends up winning the division, I'm giving him the MVP. Right? I'm giving him MVP. I don't care.
Well, I'm giving him if he made the playoffs.
If he finishes second, and if he see, that's the realism factor where it comes in. I don't think he'll get it. He'll get votes though. That's a different story now. Will he win MVP as a 7th seed, 6th seed? I don't think so. But if he wins a division and he's a top 4 seed because of that, giving him MVP for sure. They're 1 game behind.
They're ahead of the Bengals now.
And we're 1.5 game behind the division. How much of a realistic chance do you give after seeing the Jacksonville performance today? Granted, it was against San Francisco, and based on schedule, I think we have the easiest. Do you give Indy or Houston to win the division?
It's Houston more than Indy.
Okay.
Houston still got to play Jacksonville.
And they have the quarterback.
And they have their quarterback, yes.
Yeah.
But Jacksonville, I don't see him losing too many. Like, I think they play Baltimore still,
Yeah.
which is going to be a tough one. And I think they play Cincy, right? So we'll see what happens with those 2 games as well.
And the NFL season on drugs, so we don't know what's going
And
to
there's
happen.
2 Titans game, right? You don't know what happened there,
Yeah.
right? But it's Houston because, like, they already beat Jacksonville once. We lost them twice. If they could beat Jacksonville a second time, they already had a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So as long as they could just figure out to tie the record, and there's a very possible chance of that happening,
Yeah.
as you're reacting to Atlanta, or was it Atlanta
Arizona.
pick, right? I think it was Atlanta tournament. But yeah, there's a chance for Houston because they could sweep the Jaguars and be, you know, a same record as team. And I don't think the Jaguars gonna be a. What do you think Jaguars record would be? Like, I think 11 and
Okay, let me pull up their schedule. Let's talk about the Jaguars too. while we're
11
at
and
it.
6.
Yeah, probably.
You
Realistically,
think so, right?
Like, okay, they got their ass kicked today, 34-3
By
right?
San Fran, who
It is San Francisco, who's coming off a bye week as well, but also on a 3-game losing streak, adding Chase Young to that
well, you gotta
team.
show something.
And Brock Purdy might not be concussed anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Now,
And
that means, Christian McCaffrey's streak ended at 18.
yeah, but you gotta show something against the big games, right? Like
Yeah.
how we mentioned Miami.
Yeah. Their schedule, like, I would still pick the Bengals over them.
I could still do that too. I could see that.
Like, I could, like, realistically, I could see the Titans, they're at home, so I won't, they'll be the Titans at home.
Yeah,
At the Texans, that's a toss-up right now.
it is. Genuinely is.
Because that defense is also good in Houston.
Really good.
Bengals, okay, toss-up. Browns, at
Wait.
Browns, by the way.
Hey.
Ravens, so that's I'll give them the pass for Titans for right now.
Well, say
It's a divisional game still.
say they sweep Titans 2-0.
From Texans, Bengals, Browns, Ravens, 4 in a row could be 0-4. I will not be surprised.
Generally could be,
but
yeah.
if they could be, but at the same time, I won't be surprised if they're 4-0.
Yeah,
So it's
So that-
weird.
That's
that
the
way.
stretch of the season where it's really gonna come down to.
Because
But-
in that same stretch, let me might as well put up Indy and Houston at the same time here,
Yeah,
very quickly. So Indy is that stretch.
Indy has an easy.
We have a bye next week.
Yeah, we have a bye.
So we have the Bucks at the Titans, at the Bengals, Steelers. We close off with the Texans, so that could potentially be like that Sunday night football game,
Potentially, yeah.
right? And then the Falcons, Raiders. So, like, again, Indy, same thing. I could see us going 4-0 and going 0-4.
But the issue is we have to like overtake Jaguars. Where Houston is a position they don't have to overtake them. They could just be.
But
same.
if we end up beating Houston, then that makes it.
that makes it.
I don't know what the
different,
3-way tie
yeah.
would
It will be a 3-way tie or something. Like
But I
that.
agree with you. Houston's a more likely team.
Yeah, 100%.
This is why I also had Houston ahead of Indy in general, but they're doing above and beyond because I didn't think Tennessee was going to be this bad either.
Indy's hurt.
Um,
Indy doesn't have their quarterback. That's
yeah, true.
and also
But,
CJ Stroud's a freaking god.
let me check Houston very quickly before we talk about
Just a couple other games here,
yes, because we
Let's
got to talk
move
about
on,
Josh
yeah.
Dobbs again.
but yeah.
Houston. So they're 5-4. Like I said, they play Cardinals next week. Now we'll see what happens with Kyler Murray. Could be a different story.
It's a different game. With Kyler Murray in there.
Jaguars, Broncos, Jets, Titans, Browns, Titans, Colts. I could even argue they have the easier schedule than the Colts.
I could
Realistically,
we have an easier schedule. There's no way we have the easier schedule.
I don't know. I think we're both at the bottom somewhere.
Yeah,
That might be the case.
Texans have an easier one.
Yeah, in my opinion.
You got the Jets, Broncos. Obviously Jets defense is really
We got
good.
Titans twice, and that could be a split, honestly.
Yeah,
Because Will Levis versus CJ Stroud would be fun to watch
that'll
now.
be so fun to watch too. Yeah,
But yeah, no, like that's AFC South is coming down to the wire.
it will.
And then in a couple of years, it will be the juggernaut.
It will be the
division,
juggernaut. Yeah,
where all 4 teams will make the playoffs, maybe because of their quarterbacks. Josh Dobbs once again doesn't know where his locker room is. First home game has
doesn't
to be
need to
led
know
there.
where his locker room is.
But are you done with the Saints? Like, do you still,
They'll make
their
the
division is so bad that they could still make the playoffs.
They'll
somehow.
make the playoffs. They're fine, like that way, but like don't expect much from them.
Is it like, as a Saints fan, because I'm seeing a relative who's a Saints fan on Twitter all the time saying the team's so bad. How bad is it that they will win the division and they won't get one of these quarterbacks? Because it is a quarterback-ridden draft. Now, how good each is going to be, I don't know, because we know it's Caleb Williams, Drake May, Quinn Ewers, Michael Penix, Bo Nix,
JJ McCarthy.
Jaden Daniels from LSU.
Yeah.
I think is in this one as well, and there might be another one. Now, granted, I don't know which one is going to be like a Stetson Bennett version of these guys, or Duggan or whoever. But still, like if a guy like Penix falls, you got to take him.
Yeah,
right?
you gotta
So-
take a chance on the Heisman winner.
But then at the same time, you might not be in a position to because you might be in a playoff spot because of your division so bad.
exactly.
But at the same time, if Dobbs somehow makes it to the Super Bowl or the playoffs, they have to make a movie off this. Am I right?
Playoffs.
Like, is this like okay?
Super Bowl is a stretch.
Is
but
DeMar
playoffs,
Hamlin a lock for comeback player of the year just because he played that one game as of right now?
probably, right?
All right, minus that situation then, because I will agree with that, because there is a life-threatening situation that happened with him. Is Josh Dobbs comeback player of the year?
If you're looking at taking away the
Because it
injury-
could be a Geno Smith type thing.
if you're thinking about like coming back from like bad performances, right? Like most improved, like we could say
But
that.
that's what the Geno Smith was.
Yeah, Geno
last
Smith
year.
was most improved. Like comeback players, like
It's the same. No, but it's the same.
it's the same kind of thing, right?
For
But
NFL, it's the same.
like you could kind of like break it up into tiers, like where you have the Alex Smith or DeMar Hamlin winning it, and then you're gonna have
Josh Dobbs.
the Josh Dobbs and Geno Smith.
Yeah.
It's Josh Dobbs. If you're looking at that perspective, right? If they like split up the award a little bit and you have a most improved and a comeback, most improved is Josh Dobbs.
Yeah.
And honestly, he's in a better system than Arizona, right? Kevin O'Connell is a legit coach.
You mean Minnesota? You said Arizona.
Yeah, so he's a different situation than Arizona.
Oh, you said he's
Yeah.
in a better situation in Arizona. Okay, no. This is without Justin Jefferson. They're 4-0 without Justin Jefferson.
Hey.
5-0 now with without Justin Jefferson.
Trade Jefferson.
Kyler made a comeback. Since we're reacting to it live, that's the last game we will probably talk about, because we don't need to talk about some of the other games. So we'll do a full more depth of these games later on. But Kyler Murray's back, and close game with Arizona, or they're up now by 5.
They're up now, yeah.
My question to you is: let's just say Kyler goes on a slight win streak, but they're still in a position to draft a QB. Are you more so that keep Kyler? Because I still think Kyler's underrated.
I think
Personally,
I think
Kyler's slightly underrated.
you could win. You could win with Kyler. I agree with that.
I still think he's a slightly underrated guy. But if Marvin Harrison Jr. is available or a QB is available, where would you go?
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay, I guess depending on the QB. Like, let's just say there's
Houston pick is not theirs, right? So you're gonna have one pick.
So if you're gonna have one pick and you're a top 3 pick, let's just say you are somehow top 3,
Try to get Marvin Harrison Jr.
or like a tackle or whatever that helps Kyler out
Well, then
more than a QB at this
then
point.
trade back.
We'll see how the rest
then,
of the
then
season.
trade back.
We'll see how the rest of the season
Yeah.
goes, because that's what they did. They traded back, right? The
if it's not
Paris-Johnson pick.
if it's not Marvin Harrison Jr., then trade back.
Okay.
Otherwise, I don't know if you could land Brock Bowers, but I think Brock Bowers you could get like from the 6 to 10 range.
Yeah.
At the current moment.
So you're more likely, like, if let's just say they're the first overall pick, are you draft Caleb Williams, or are you trade back what Justin Fields' situation last year and stick with Kyler, depending on how Kyler performs, because he doesn't really have weapons.
Unless you draft Marvin Harrison number 1,
Minus Marvin Harrison in this case.
then trade back.
So you're saying no matter what, keep Kyler.
I'd say keep Kyler.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that, because if Kyler's in the trade market, if I'm Minnesota,
There's only one reason I wouldn't.
because it's Caleb Williams.
No, okay, yeah, there's that. But like, you know how like Joe Burrow and like these Bengals and these Chargers teams got good with
Yeah.
Josh Allen? It's because they built around him when they had the rookie contract, right?
Yeah.
So like they already built a squad,
Yeah.
and all they had to do was pay the quarterback.
But here's the thing: if I'm the Saints, I wouldn't mind going trade for him if they were like they're gonna be far down below. Minnesota, they're not gonna have a QB next year unless I guess Josh Dobbs. But
Josh Dobbs or QB, man.
But no, like genuinely though, I think Kyler Murray's very underrated. His numbers are similar to Lamar Jackson's, at least to start off the career, right?
Yeah.
He look how good he was when he had DeAndre Hopkins healthy with him. Like, they were insane.
They were.
Right, and I don't know who their OC is, so because Jonathan Gannon is a defensive coach, so we'll see how the rest of the games go. So far, based on his stats, very quickly before we get into the next
Looking
topic,
pretty decent.
because he
He rushed for a touchdown already.
17 for 27, 208 yards. He threw a pick, but yeah, he's like you said, he rushed for a touchdown. But he's throwing to guys like McBride, Moore, and Marquise Brown, who he has a connection
with
with.
Colts
slightly.
legend Zach Pascal.
Yeah, which he never made a catch yet. Didn't make a catch yet. But yeah, I'm still like team build around Kyler.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But if they are like, I wouldn't be mad if they were to go top 3 and pick a QB. Then if I'm Minnesota, if I'm New Orleans, for example, maybe go calling.
Go trade for Kyler, yeah.
Trade for Kyler.
But yeah, so let's move on to Sunday Night Football. Quick prediction because it's not a good one.
I mean, by the time this is out, it's Sunday.
Yeah, I really love my boy Aiden O'Connell, but I'm going with the Jets here just because
I don't even know who I picked. Let me quickly check.
I picked the Jets, I'm pretty sure.
I picked the Jets.
Their defense is too good.
Yeah.
Right, and so you're a rookie quarterback, and then obviously they're not using. I don't expect Josh Jacobs to do it much.
And Antonio Pierce, though.
Well, you know, Antonio Pierce could change something there because Josh Jacobs finally had a good game with him.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going Jets.
Jets,
talk
right?
about it. It's
And then
should have flexed it out.
Monday Night Football.
Should have flexed it out literally for that game that we
Should have
mentioned.
flexed it out.
Monday Night Football, Broncos, Bills. Bills, I swear to God, if you lose this game.
You better not lose this game.
You cannot lose this game.
You can't.
As good as the Broncos are beating the Chiefs, I'm putting in
Yeah.
quotation marks for audio listeners.
Was that their last win? Like that last game, I mean. And then they
I
had
think so because they had a bye week.
Their bye week, right?
Yeah, Chief. They're on a two-game heater like the San Jose Sharks right now.
Yeah.
All right, they beat the Packers, which are okay, man.
Well, Sharks already lost now.
Oh, true. But the Chiefs, they destroyed them based on scoreline.
They did. They did destroy the Chiefs.
They're at the Bills, and we saw what the Bills struggle with the Giants. So
anything can happen, but like Bills,
Bills played with the team's level usually.
You can't afford to lose this one here.
Yeah, but yeah, because you're 5-4 and you're gonna be tied with Indy, so maybe lose, might be good for us.
Yeah, like obviously as a fan of like my team,
Yeah.
lose, but like you can't afford it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's Monday Night Football. As mentioned, we'll probably cover the 1 o'clock games more so because there's a good game in Detroit and Chargers going on right now.
31-24, fourth quarter.
Which we'll talk about more on Thursday when we record on Wednesday.
It might be a tie game, potentially.
Okay. We'll still react to anything crazy that happens. But NBA, very quickly, before we go into our early reactions, Kelly Oubre Jr., Philadelphia 76er, got struck by a car as a pedestrian, and he's in the hospital, but I think he's in stable condition. He's able to make a recovery and get back. Broken ribs, early indicator, or early injury, and I think there's something with his hip and leg, obviously, and there's some cuts and bruises. So he will be out for a while.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Good thing he's survived, and he's not in critical condition. And there's some dumbass guys that love to tweet some stupid shit. For this guy tweeted, "Oh, Kelly Oubre is so bad, like less than 11 points. I hope he gets hit by a car." And now he deleted the tweet, obviously. But you know, it's social media, screenshots happen, and
little too much.
Yeah,
a lot too much actually, not a little too much. But yeah, no, Kelly Oubre, hope he get better. Genuinely, like just thankful that
Yeah, like it's
like
sports.
you're in stable condition.
It's sports. Like
that.
yeah, you're on a team that we might not like. That doesn't mean we care. We want you dead or something like that.
Exactly, right. So like we want you healthy.
It's sports. At the end of the day.
You're like we want to beat the players when they're on the court.
Yeah.
Like we don't want to beat them when like they're best one of their some like good role player, which Kelly Oubre is not on the court.
Okay. Yeah, so get well soon, Kelly Oubre. But let's talk about his squad for a second. 7-game win streak. Starting off 0-1. They're 7-1 with Nick Nurse. Joel Embiid probably could be an MVP favorite, but it still might be Steph or Tatum or Luka, because Luka also went off last game. At least the last game I remember is mine, because power outage screwed my schedule up.
Nick Nurse, he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I've witnessed it first time with the Raptors, so I expected the 76ers to be better, but I didn't expect them to be first place ahead of the Celtics and the Bucks.
The Bucks are on the wild card right now.
Yeah. But no, props to them, right? Props to Nurse. He's come in and fixed something. Obviously, they got the cancer out in James Harden, which obviously helps when you got
they're
rid of
losing.
that early. And I don't think they won a game with him yet.
They're playing right now. They just finished their game and they lost to the Grizzlies, who were winless.
So I think that's like 3 in a row losses with James Harden, or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, to be fair with that, okay, we'll finish with the Sixers side first.
So like you got rid of your problem early. You're playing good basketball.
That's the only reason why I give you a good trade grade.
Yeah, Tyrese Maxey's stepping up.
Probably
like
MIP.
Like, it's like genuine like the Pascal Siakam, right? Like when Nurse came in, Siakam stepped up. Right now, Maxey's stepping up. And Kenneth Walker, my boy, got a touchdown. And he's on my fantasy team.
I need the Seahawks to win. Okay, anyways, continue. This is live beyond the radar.
Bro, that's big. That's big for me. But back to Tyrese Maxey, like how Pascal Siakam stepped up for Nick Nurse that year.
Yeah.
He's doing the same thing. It's genuine. Like I kind of see that Raptors team within that Sixers team, but obviously the difference is
the big man is your superstar.
The big man is a superstar. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I did not expect this. Now, again, every team's gonna come back at Earth at some point, unless you're like the 73-9 Warriors, which is not. They're not that. And yeah, they're 7-1.
And to be fair, like we expect Dame and Giannis to figure it out. Like just learn to do a pick and roll. And you'll be unstoppable.
Before we go to the Bucks, we mentioned the Clippers. And they're on a 4-game losing streak. Now, it's for me. It's still fine. Oh my God, Chargers. Okay, sorry.
Let's focus up. Let's just get the East done, and then we'll go to the West.
Okay, fine. Let's do that.
Yeah. So Bucks, like obviously, like you said it before off camera, like you expect them to figure it out.
Yeah, because I don't know how. Like it's easy to say, pick and roll is pretty easy to do, and I get that. We're not NBA players though.
When in doubt, pick and roll.
Pick and roll, right? I don't know how much of it is on Adrian Griffin's system or he's just letting people go out. Because again, I love that he got a head coaching opportunity, but not the
for
right
the contender, right?
And because obviously Darvin Ham with us was okay last year. I still don't want him really, but after what we've seen, but same thing with Adrian Griffin, right? Like I want who's gonna be available, and then yeah, I think they'll figure it out. They're 5-4. Like Dame is going into a situation where he was the guy. You give him the ball and move out of the way, he'll make a play. Now
Giannis is that guy too.
Now it's Giannis, and you're doing a pick and roll play, and you still gotta see where Giannis likes to be on the court. Yeah, it's a pick and roll. It's easy to say pick and roll and go into post position. It's not that type of NBA anymore. At the same time, though, he's got to figure out where Dame likes his spots the most, or Giannis likes his spots the most. Where Brook, for example, he's a point guard, so he has to figure out where Brook likes the ball, where his hot spot is, or Middleton, or when they cut, etc. So it takes time.
Do you think it's just like they're trying to do too much, or
I think
then you realize that one of them needs to take a step back, right?
Like you're saying like a LeBron D Wade situation.
Like one of them needs
D Wade took a step back.
Yeah, like one of them needs to take a step back type of thing.
It's still Giannis's team. Because that situation was D Wade stepped back because he knew that LeBron is the guy. It's still in this case it is Giannis's team. The problem is Giannis's skill set doesn't match Dame's skill set, and now defensively Dame gets cooked on the perimeter because it's not Drew Holiday anymore. It's Damian Lillard. Now the offense should hopefully overpower that, but if you're cold, at least with Drew Holiday's defense, you could still make it tough shots after tough shot after tough shot. I don't think those guys are the type of guys to like be James Harden, I guess, or Russell Westbrook.
I'm not even putting that in.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah,
I still think they're a team that needs to get in the playoffs, and they'll be fine.
We're just talking about straight basketball here. Like one of them needs to take a step back, but
it is ride the hot hand of that game.
Exactly. So
that's like game 1 against the Sixers was Dame.
Yeah,
and do that, but don't like force feed Giannis because you're hot and he's not. Let him get his natural way of getting baskets, and maybe he's killing it on the defensive floor. You know, on the flip side, if you know you're not as hot, give it to Giannis, but give it back to Dame if he's getting double teamed, and you know Dame still
not even
shots.
Give it to Middleton.
That too.
Give it to
I'm
Brook.
just saying like different situations that, but I think they'll figure it out. The Hawks are kind of coming back down to earth because they started off pretty hot.
But yeah, Celtics, we expect everything like what they're doing for sure.
Nothing surprising there.
But
Indy,
your favorite one, yeah, is probably
Indy,
the Pacers.
6-3.
Tyrese Halliburton, I don't think I've seen him. Like every time I've seen his stat line, I don't think he had in a game where he had less than 10 assists. Because every time I see this guy, he's at 12 or 13 assists. He's averaging 11.9. Obviously, I'm over exaggerating.
11.6 now.
I'm over exaggerating a little bit just because I'm pretty sure he had this games where he didn't reach 10 assists. But like that guy's playmaking is absolutely insane. And the Kings might be a little bit. I don't know if they're gonna be dreading this in the future. They'll be dreading this in the future. Currently, they're fine, but Tyrese Halliburton, absolute baller.
Yeah, I still wasn't a huge fan of the trade. I get it was a win-win situation for last year.
We'll see.
Key thing last year.
We'll see if it's for this year.
But yeah, they were my jump team. I didn't expect to be the 3 seed. Maybe that's the new Kings for the East. But
it could be. Yeah.
Magic, I feel like they always do this. They start off hot every single year, then they just
Miami
go down.
Heat's in there still.
Yeah, but they're 5-4 as well. Everybody's tied, right? Your squad's like half a game behind, so.
That's too early to tell right now.
Obviously, we need to try to tune into more Raptor games. I wish if we were able to get what's it called, NBA Game Pass,
League Pass.
That's
pretty.
But it's not working the greatest. But like it could get some red zone type vibe. But
yeah. But let's flip over to the
Raptors
West.
very quickly.
I mean, it's the same thing.
Still the most confusing team.
It's the same thing for me, right? And then
got your ass kicked by the Celtics, who called a challenge at like up 20.
Yeah, but let's just move to the West. Like I said the same thing.
We did say we're gonna have a guest video that got moved to next week due to situations on the side.
Yeah.
And plus, if we had a power outage, I don't think we would have been able to get it done anyways. So yeah.
But let's move on to the West. So far, your Lakers have been disappointing.
Well, you want to start off there? With the Clippers.
Yeah, just do your quick thoughts there. Like obviously, we mentioned.
Lakers,
I feel like we mentioned it last part too.
It's Darvinham.
Yeah,
that's it.
So it's the same issues.
No, but the difference with last game they played against the Suns. Now the funny thing is they beat the good teams, or then they lost to the bad teams, right? The difference between the first half and the second half was their defense came out, and that's what caused the offense. And Cam Reddish was hitting threes, and that helped. And Austin Reeves got moved to the bench and was playing in the clutch though, and how D'Lo started off strong. For me, the identity is the defense to offense, yeah, that's the main thing. Hopefully, we could add more shooting. Is the consistent 3-point shooting, and Darvinham, figure out your lineups because sometimes your lineups are annoying. But you've been doing better since the last time we talked about this.
And now looking at the Clippers, 3-5 record, obviously.
3-6 now, I think.
Yeah, after today.
Yeah, no, for me, this one is a more hectic Buck situation because you're also incorporating
too much star power.
Too much star power. You're incorporating a guy that's been a cancer at other spots by saying, I want the ball, blah, 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 whatever the case may be. I won't be surprised if he demands a trade or signs somewhere else in the offseason. Russell Westbrook is a similar situation, but I think he kind of figured it out now.
He's fitting well.
Kawhi Leonard is making statements like he's a role player, which is confusing to me because he's the guy. Paul George is playing like the guy as well. James Harden is a number 3 situation on that team, right? James Harden just needs to play point guard. Here's the thing. The thing with James Harden is, again, Ty Lue, I trust him as the most in this coaching situation to figure stuff with star power out because he did coach LeBron once upon a time. And in this case, though, I think he'll figure it out. It's just like, how do you incorporate everything to go at once? James Harden will figure out at least the point guard side of things. And the scoring, we'll see when it comes. I haven't really watched the Clippers game with him playing yet because, again, our schedules didn't line up. Because it was on the East Coast side of things.
I feel like with them, I feel like they're trying to play like level to each other.
Yeah.
Right? They're trying to like, spread it out as much as they can. Whereas sometimes, one guy just take over the ball and dominate.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like
that has to be the guy, Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah. I mean, it could be Paul George. Obviously, it could be
Paul George is playing insane right now.
It could be the odd James Harden or Westbrook game. But, yeah, I think Kawhi Leonard needs to do what he did with the Raptors still and make sure that, like, make that statement on the court that it is his team.
It's still Kawhi's team. No one's touching Kawhi when he's healthy. Defensively and offensively. No one is. I don't care what anybody says.
Best two-way player in the game.
Paul George is half a tier below him. That's the most I could say. James Harden, it's pressure's on you the most.
Do something.
We'll see how that goes.
Because right now
we'll have more to say once we have seen more games.
0-4 since the trade, or 0-3, whatever it is.
We'll see. Again, I'm fine with that at this point, but we'll see how it goes later on. Is the question, and when we see more games of how they play.
But should we go quick fire now?
Very quickly, the Giants got their first score against the Dallas Cowboys this year.
Quick fire UFC. Obviously, we didn't watch it, so we can't really analyze.
I'm gonna say one thing. Sorry,
what?
About the NBA. The Houston Rockets are fun to watch right now.
Yeah,
5-3 record, and then I'll have one more question as well after this.
Yeah.
So Houston Rockets right now they're kind of eating your words wrong type of thing, but Dylan Brooks is kind of playing like FIBA again.
I can't say really anything right now.
And Minnesota though, there's 2 things we want to hear. They're 6-2, which is good,
and we beat them.
Okay,
the Raptors beat them,
but the Karl-Anthony Towns situation is massive right now. Brian Windhorst said that we don't even know how you could even get a first round pick for Karl-Anthony Towns. He fouled the game they won against, I forgot who it was. He had 7 points, 7 turnovers, 6 fouls.
He's not playing. Like,
as a big man.
It's ruined him. Like
that situation has ruined him.
The Gobert trade ruined him. But like at the end of the day, like if you're winning games, you can't complain.
But where
about
will he fit now?
That's the issue, right?
Because he is, I don't know, I think he's one of the $200 million players in the NBA.
Yeah.
Defensively, Gobert is one of the best. His back to three-point candidacy again.
Like I give him credit for Gobert for that, but like I'm saying the fit for me wasn't gonna work.
And then Anthony Edwards is playing his mind though. Like he might arguably be the best shooting guard this year again. Because Booker being injured.
Booker,
yeah. So like that's the situation.
It's fair to say, man. I was like I can't. Like, it's very fair to say that.
And I don't know how this cap situation is working out because like obviously we see what Boston has done,
and also with his injuries as well. You don't know.
Like I will not somehow the Clippers somehow finesse to get him. I won't be like, oh my god, but we'll see how it goes. I would love if I were as a Laker fan, I would try to get him because I think his fit with AD is way better than his fit with Gobert.
100% better.
Because AD could play power forward.
Yeah,
he can't. That's the difference.
Yeah, that's
because AD could defend the perimeter on a given day. Yeah, essentially.
Towns' defense always never been the best in general.
Yeah,
as well.
Okay, well that's the NBA talk for right now.
So now we go on to Quickfire.
Yeah,
obviously UFC is quick because we never really watched it.
Yeah, because power outage.
But I guess Alex Pereira,
is the guy.
Like I think, did we say this? I don't know if you said this, but I was like, if it's a knockout, it's gonna be Alex Pereira win, and if it was like a decision, it'll be a Yuri win.
I don't. Maybe you have. I don't know if
that's how I thought of it and I thought Pereira's power was like a little bit too much. It's going to be difficult to match, but let's talk about what happened after the fight because we could definitely comment on that.
Okay, no, during the fight though, because from what I've seen, I haven't went back to watch the highlights or see the fight replay, but with they were saying it was an early stoppage, but Yuri did come out and say no, I was done. Like he got caught. I'm not gonna complain about that. We'll see though. Afterwards, what he says. Jan's pissed that. Okay, we'll get to that now, but before we get to the heavyweight side of things, Alex Pereira, second round TKO win, called out same guy again, Israel Adesanya, this time to 205.
This time it's gonna be for Pereira's belt.
Pereira's belt, technically last time was Pereira's belt too.
Huh?
But the second time they fought last time was
But
Pereira's
Pereira's
belt.
division now.
Yeah. Izzy did come out and say, like, you're welcome to the middleweight division, that I got the monster out, because if I lost that last one, you guys would have been still stuck with him here instead of light heavyweight.
Yeah.
And listen, Izzy's
Like,
obviously in a break, a well-deserved break at the end of the day.
100%
100% well-deserved break.
But I want to see 3.
Here's the thing, because Jan's like, why do you keep pulling out the same guy? I think I beat you anyways the first time, because again, I don't think we watched that fight.
We didn't either.
Yeah, I think we missed it for some reason. But
that was a decision.
that was a decision. So, but with the Izzy, because right now the realistic one is Alex versus Jamal Hill when he's healthy.
Yeah.
Right. Izzy, I think, will want to go back to middleweight, maybe become a simultaneously like how he was trying to be with Jan.
Yeah.
2 division champion.
2 division. Yeah. McGregor.
Yeah, and I think he's able to beat Strickland if Strickland's still the champ, or Duplessis. We'll see how he does, right? Izzy knows how to beat Pereira, clearly.
Did it?
Because it's a counter puncher, not a guy who pressures, which was Yuri was doing for the little clip I did see on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it.
Like, obviously, we're not gonna comment too much on the fight because we didn't watch
Again,
it, right? Like,
but the aftermath, I do want to see Izzy go back to. I want to see Pereira beat Jamal Hill, if that's legit, because the light heavy division right now it's like hot potato with a belt.
It's the NFL.
It's literally hot potato with a belt.
like how much the NFL is on drugs? That's what the lightweight division is.
Yeah, light heavyweight.
Light heavyweight, yeah.
And then I want to see him go fight Pereira at 205, and I'll see if a weight is a big factor in Pereira versus Izzy at 205 compared to, I think, 185, which is middleweight. So, yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued to see it. I think Izzy will get a title shot at middleweight first. That's the thing there. Next month, sick card is Covington Edwards, so we'll get ready for that. Hopefully, no situation there. All right, let's move into boxing very quickly before we talk about the MLB news. So the situation here with the boxing right now is the heavyweight division is kind of all over the place, right? Because we know it's Tyson Fury's division, and he's fighting Usyk. I want to say his division after the Ngannou disappointment.
Yeah.
But we know who's the 2 main guys there fighting for the belts there. The question mark is who's 3 and 4 right now. I still think at the end of the day, Wilder is considered 2, and he has to prove it though. That's the difference. Wilder is calling out Joshua. He's willing to get a fight made ASAP. Wilder hasn't fought since that Hellenius crazy half punch knockout. Yeah. Whereas Joshua, they said they were supposed to fight each other next. Originally, December 23rd is a significant date because it was supposed to be Usyk versus Fury.
Yeah.
Obviously, that got delayed now to February most likely. And instead of Joshua versus Wilder, though, they might be on the same card.
But fighting different
which
people.
Which is kind of weird. Because right now, it's Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wallin, who some boxing fans will remember gave Fury a fight before Joshua and Fury and Wilder 2 happened.
Yeah.
Because that was like their tune-up fights.
Yeah.
And then when I think Wilder fought Luis Ortiz for the second time.
Yeah.
And the second one is Joseph Parker, who's a decent boxer from what I heard, is fighting Deontay Wilder.
So they're on the same card, but different fights.
I don't know who should be the main event. I think, personally, biased speaking, is Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like he's the bigger attraction in terms of knockout-wise. But obviously, Anthony Joshua is the more, I guess, bigger name in Saudi terms. Because that's where the fight is supposed to happen. And there's supposed to be a third fight that's supposed to be insane in that thing as well. But, yeah, that'll be finally a good, sick boxing card that's not misfits involved, I guess.
That's not YouTubers.
Influencer involved.
That's not YouTubers. Yeah, I feel like they both need a fight before they fight each other. So I kind of...
Especially Wilder.
Yeah. Like, if they're... Like, they fight both of these guys win, next card or next chance they have, they should be fighting each other. That's my take on that for the card. So, like, I don't mind that they're, on the same card but not fighting each other. Like, some people might be pissed off because they want to fight right now. But I feel like to get the best of both, they got to have a tune-up fight.
I wanted to see Ruiz involved, either against Joshua to figure out whether
the trilogy fight,
or even against Wilder. But Joseph Parker, from what I hear, is good instead of Otto Wallin, I guess. But and there's supposed to be the third fight there is supposed to be something insane as well. But that's the boxing side of things. So it's intriguing. Let's see what happens if it's official or not. It is boxing. It takes millions of years, and promoters get involved. We all know the
story of boxing. Yeah.
But December is looking like to be a good fight month with the UFC, potentially this card. And obviously, we're still going to tune into Jake Paul fighting a boxer.
Yeah.
Joe Fournier type boxer, but a boxer.
Yeah.
MLB, very quickly though, Silver Slugger's been announced. A new coach hiring has been announced, more of a promotion.
We'll start with there.
Astros named Espada next manager. This is obviously replacing Dusty Baker. Is set to name bench coach as their bench coach as a team manager. That's no much more. Joe Espada to be exactly his name. And
I like the fact they're hiring within. I don't think you could really have any issues with that when your team is already that good. So you just have someone just knows the players, knows the system. Nothing's really gonna affect too much. Or where a new coach comes in, you gotta build relationships and all that stuff because they're already made. And we have a probably potential game of the year going on right now. And
Yankees approached Ross about a bench coach position, which makes sense because this could be his Aaron Boone's last year.
Yeah.
If he's not already gonna get fired. Tatis. So this is one of the awards. Platinum Glove winners. Fernando Tatis wins it for the National League, which is insane coming back and playing a different position. Yeah. And then Andres Jimenez for second baseman
wins it for the
AL. Blue Jays as an AL team, which makes sense because we had one of the best outfield defenses for sure with Chapman.
Amazing, yeah.
And NL, it was the Milwaukee Brewers, and that's that one. Silver Sluggers, very quickly, I want to just announce this right now.
List the winners quickly.
Adley Rutschman, catcher, AL. First base, Yandy Diaz. Second base, Marcus Semien. Third base was Rafael Devers.
Then Seager.
Then Corey Seager for shortstop. Outfield was Luis Robert, Julio Rodriguez, Kyle Tucker.
Makes sense.
I guess a little surprised with Adolis Garcia, but that's more playoffs, I guess.
Kyle Tucker led the league.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm thinking playoffs.
In RBIs, I think, yeah.
I think I was thinking playoffs. Designated hitter, Shohei Ohtani. Utility was Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah.
Okay, team was the Texas Rangers.
Makes sense.
National League, catcher, William Contreras of the Brewers. First base was Matt Olson. Braves swept the awards, I think. Second base, Luis Ariz. Makes sense considering he finished. Oh, they didn't say it here.
Insane average.
Yeah. Austin Riley for second base. Shortstop. Third base. Shortstop was Francisco Lindor, who I thought was struggling this
Same. I guess he picked it up. Nobody cared after the Mets Nobody cared about the Mets after
the trades,
June.
And outfield, Ronald Acuna Jr., Mookie Betts, Juan Soto. Wait, Freddie Freeman didn't get it?
Matt Olson.
Oh, yeah, makes sense. Designated hitter was Bryce Harper. Utility was Cody Bellinger, which is a little surprised. I thought he was center fielder the whole year.
He might play first base, but
yeah.
He could play first base too.
Mookie Betts was also in consideration for this. Yeah. Winner, though, as a team, Atlanta Braves. No surprise there. So that's the MLB side of things. Again, no update on any free agency or anything like that. So it's just been the managers so far. I'm not even gonna bother looking at the tweets. We go do that next week, most likely. Last thing, very quickly, soccer. If we mentioned Jeevan's name earlier, the U17 World Cup is going on. Underway. So by the time this comes out, the second game will already have happened.
Yes.
Against Uzbekistan. That's a 4 a.m. Monday morning.
Must win game.
Or at least a result game.
At least a result game for sure. Even if you don't win that game, you still have a chance, but you're going to kind of leave it. It'll leave it tough against Mali for the last game where you have to win.
So they lost to Spain, not surprisingly. 2-0 was a
Spain,
score line that definitely was beneficial because they could have easily lost that game 10-0.
You could have easily seen 5 to 6 goals.
Now, we're not going to go too much into the game because it is a U17 World Cup.
Spain's that team, right? They're filled with Barcelona academy players. They're missing
Madrid as well.
And Madrid. You're missing Lamine Yamal.
And they're still
playing first team on Barcelona.
Yeah.
And then they have Marc Gui,
who's in Barcelona.
Scored a goal for Barcelona first team.
Yeah. So, they unfortunately lost, and they also got red carded. But standout, Jeevan was a standout, and this is not being biased. You could go check out Alexander Ganje-Ruzic's tweet. You could go at Peter Galindo. He might say the same thing as well. But the other guy that stood out, two guys, I guess, for you is Lazar Stefanovic.
So you got Abraham and Net.
Yeah, the obvious one.
Lazar Stefanovic.
And TJ Tahid.
And TJ Tahid played really well too.
That's the ones I
And noticed. Then Jeevan Badwal.
Jeevan Badwal. This is probably our intro clip here, but...
we'll see.
We'll see, yeah. But the next game is 4 a.m., which is already out by now, so you guys will probably know the score. Then Thursday is the last group game. Canada just trying to make history. I don't even think they got a point in any
Never
of
got
their...
a point either, right?
So at least a draw would be beneficial.
Uzbekistan lost 3-0 to Mali, right? So technically, you're not last place in the group.
If you're wondering how good these teams are, go check our Peter Galindo pod. We have chapters, so we'll talk about the U17 World Cup there. So that's already been out a while ago, so you could check that one out. Other reactions though, very quickly, it is international break coming up. As a Man United fan, it might be good, but in the Premier League side of things,
we might have witnessed the game of the year.
Oh yeah, let's start with that.
Chelsea 4, Man City 4.
Yeah,
An 8-goal thriller between obviously a team that's supposed to win it all and a team that kind of was struggling, but like kind of found their foot in the last 2 games. Beating Tottenham and now getting a point off of City. Chelsea 3rd minute penalty to tie the game. Armando Broja winning the penalty coming off the bench.
Clear penalty.
I feel like they're kind of finding their stride now. They've been on a good little stretch here. So
no one's hotter than Man United though.
Yeah, but the thing is, the difference between Man United and us is that Man United and Chelsea is Chelsea doing against the good teams.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, props to Chelsea. Young squad, 4-4, like Holland.
Thiago Silva and the kids. Thiago Silva.
Yeah, genuinely
and
it
the kids.
is. Like, it is that. And like Holland is scoring with definitely, a lot of body parts in his
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, you know what I'm referring to, but I'm not going to say it on camera. And you guys should see that highlight of how Holland scored.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
Other questionable penalty. Again, all leagues have officiating concerns. We're not even going to get into it today. Man United, very quickly. Again, power outage. We didn't watch the game. In a way,
but
maybe saved us
barely
about some sleep.
But
they won. They're on a heater. I think in the last 5 games, they won 4. And they have the most points, I think, out of that. But
none of them were convincing.
Yeah, none of them were convincing.
And then the one competitive game you had, you got whooped by City.
The ownership thing should be resolved apparently today or tomorrow by David Ornstein from The Athletic. Paul Mitchell is rumored. If that's the case, I heard he's very good. He's the guy who orchestrated the original Spurs team with Alderweireld and all those guys.
Yeah.
But again, let's see what happens. Simple as that. At this point, again, I'm still Ten Hag in. We could criticize his decision making and maybe overplaying players to injury.
Bro, you gotta.
But we need continuation at some point.
Yeah.
And he's still a decent enough manager. I understand the Varane situation. I don't understand that at all, why he's beefing Varane. But outside of the injury factors. But yeah, it is what it is. That's the Man United side of things. Right now, I think City's leading by a point, right? Because they drew.
I think so, yeah.
Because they were tied with Arsenal.
Tottenham lost again to the Wolves.
Yeah, Tottenham and Newcastle.
Newcastle lost. Tottenham lost.
And for how bad Man United have been this year, we are 6th place. We're in a Europa League spot, 4 points. We're 5 points off 4th.
We're 5 points off behind Tottenham,
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, no, Arsenal, I think, won. And then Liverpool obviously had a big win against Brentford.
So Liverpool's 2nd. Arsenal's tied with them for 2nd.
Yeah.
Goal difference goes to Liverpool by 1. And then Tottenham complaining about injuries. Welcome to Man United's world.
Man United has worse.
Trippier complaining about injuries. Welcome to Man United's world.
But yeah, those are some quick reactions there. Obviously, U17 World Cup is the most, probably biggest soccer games we're paying attention to right now.
Because of family.
Because of a legit, our family.
Yeah. Because I don't think I would have been able to get up to watch that. But yeah, we'll call it there. The Jazz pod should be out soon because we still got to get it up there. But yeah, no,
technically it's Monday, so it's already out.
It's already out. But appreciate everybody for watching. Live reactions, go watch not watch it because we're not live. But the Lions game looks like we need something to talk about next time.
Yeah.
But check out the Jazz Joe Hall podcast. Great guy. Follow his stuff. His stuff will be linked in that video as well. Audio listeners, same thing. Download that one. Thank you once again for 200. We're at 204, at least when I checked before recording. Next up, 300. Let's get that rolling. And we'll continue to keep pumping out content for you guys. Other than that, we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.